Find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
All right, looking good. The controls are steady. We are beginning our descent. Please strap in your hands and feet and extraneous bones you've brought along. My name is Sophie. I will be your pilot on this submersible journey.
And I'm Katelyn. I'm the co-pilot and DJ, and I'm here to make sure you have a wild time on this here journey.
If you look to your left, you'll see a tragic shipwreck as Katelyn twerks her bottom to Pitbull.
It's Mr. Worldwide! It's a wreck of his yacht, actually.
Oh my god, and he's still there! He haunts the wreck!
What the fuck? And is somehow alive and on tour.
That's the thing about Pitbull. He can astral project himself to the concerts.
He's Mr. Worldwide.
He's Mr. Worldwide. You think Mr. Worldwide just stays in one place?
He's also Aquaman somehow.
Well, see, his soul is contained inside the wreck, and he astral projects from there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's where he sleeps.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm freshly inked with a new spooky tattoo.
Yes! Tell us all about your spooky tattoo experience.
Well, it was really fun. But basically, the artist that Sophie and Joe and now Chris has gone to, they've all had these great tattoos from him. And Joe was like, Katelyn, you're the last one to not have a tattoo from this awesome artist, PDV, in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, challenge accepted. So found a design I liked, and it got slapped on my left leg on Sunday.
How did it go?
It was good. It wasn't as painful as I was prepared for it to be, because the other tattoo I have, it took 10 minutes. It's a small, very simple design. So I really don't know that I had the full tattoo experience with that because it was so quick.
Yeah.
So this was like a 2-hour situation. So it was, it was a little bit painful, but it was good. Super nice.
Yeah. And Paul, the tattoo artist, is such a sweet person.
Yes.
Did you see his kitty cats?
No, they were hiding.
Oh, boo.
And they can't come into the shop. As he astutely pointed out, that would be illegal. Because I was like, you can just leave the door open. I don't give a fuck if there's cats in here. And he's like, no, it's illegal.
But you know what? We love that. We love that. We love someone who follows laws.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a wonderful artist. I'm so happy that you've joined the inked up club. I mean, you had a tattoo before, but like you said, it's not
more official.
Yeah, it was a bit smaller.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, it's currently very itchy.
I bet. That's the worst part. When I got my upper thigh tattoo, I wanted to rip off my skin.
Yeah.
I was ready to expose my bones.
Gonna scratch away this ink that I paid for.
Right. You're looking at it and you're like, oh, I paid someone to hurt me and put this into me, and I have to keep the wound nice.
Yeah, you gotta keep it clean.
Yeah, it's such a funny contradiction. Especially because, when I got my most recent one, it was 4.5 hours.
Damn.
And, it was on my leg, but my arms kept twitching because I had so much, built up adrenaline that my body was like,
sure.
Why don't you fight the danger, idiot?
Yeah, by the end of it, I was like, okay, this shit needs to be done right now. I was definitely over it by the end.
Oh, yeah. The worst part of the tattoo is, the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Where you're just, praying for it to be done.
Yeah. Are we there yet? Please, God.
Please, God, deliver me from the pain I asked for and paid for.
Yeah, asked for, paid for, and left a tip.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good to be in the Spooky Ink Club. This tattoo was in honor of our podcast, actually. We're coming up on 4 years of Anything Bones, and I thought that ought to be remembered on me forever.
Yeah. And did you describe it for the listeners at all?
Probably not. I can post a picture too. I'll take a picture when I have the second skin off because it looks a little weird and shiny. If you don't know what that is, you probably thought, wow, that sounded really weird. But when you get a tattoo, they put this thing called like a second skin on it. It's like a big clear Band-Aid for the tattoo. Keep it on for a few days. So once that's off, the pictures will be better. But it's like a little skull with some ferns and moons and stuff coming out of it. It's cool. I'll post a picture.
It's very cool. And the skull has like
and
fangs.
We'll link to PDV as well.
Yeah. Happy bone birthday.
Yeah. Added bonus. It represents the podcast, but also Chris has a PDV skull on his leg as well. So it's like not matching tattoos, but they're adjacent tattoos.
Tattoos in the same family.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Skulls.
Yeah, Joe and I also both have little half moons somewhere on us, which I find again is like not matching, but
cute.
Goes together. Yeah. You're cute.
You're cute. I guess we should start the show.
Let's fucking
quit
it.
Quit the chit chat, baby.
Quit the yapping. Shut your mouth hole. Dollface.
Shut your mouth already.
Hey, Dollface, quit your yapping.
Oh my god.
In olden days, a glimpse of femur was only for morbid dreamers, but you're not alone. Bring anything bones. Two goofy gals with deathly interest go on a skeleton inquest in your headphones. Anything bones.
Hello and welcome to Anything Bones. I'm Sophie, revered and reviled Schwartz.
And I am Katelyn, 1,300 miles from home, Hart. And this is the podcast where we talk about bones, spooky things, the upcoming month of October. We also tend to talk about weird history and true crime a lot. That's kind of our deal.
That is our wheelhouse where we make our wheels, and our wheels are made of bones.
I have a couple new coworkers that are probably listening to this, so the one thing I said to them as they were like looking us up on Spotify was like, oh, just so you know, like I probably swear more than I do at work. And he's like, yeah, that makes sense. So, hi.
You're not cussing out all of the vascular patients?
No, I tend to be fairly benign towards them and keep the swearing and like talking about weird shit to a minimum. Like a patient of the department I work, the last thing they want to think about is death. So we don't talk.
You don't chat.
No, I want to help them prevent death.
I was listening to a true crime podcast while working, and I don't deal in a customer facing business at all. I work in a warehouse. So I was just working at my desk and I like gasped because it was like such a turn in the case. And the guy who works like right across from me like picked up his head and looked at me. And he also, I found out this is how, that he also listens to true crime. So
nice.
I was like, oh, it's a fascinating case. And he was like, slack me the link.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, welcome new listeners, old listeners, and co-workers of Sophie and Katelyn.
Yes.
This is Anything Bones.
Yeah. We're happy to have you. And we're ready to kick off the spooky season with another episode. Katelyn, would you care to plunge us into the bone pool?
Yeah, I'll take us right down deep into the darkness. So I ended the last episode saying I was going to find something like spooky and light. And let me just say before I get into this, I tried really hard.
Oh, Katelyn.
I tried to find something. I was Googling like haunted cemeteries, haunted buildings, like murder houses, and none of it was coming through to me in that way where I was like, yeah, I need to make this a topic.
We come against this problem every year, which is that when you have a bone-related podcast and a death-related podcast, what do you do for Halloween?
It's hard. Yeah, I mean, So I just want to say at the top that I did try to find something on the lighter side and failed miserably.
Oh, Katelyn, is it even relatively light?
It's an unsolved mystery.
Oh my goodness.
So my sources for this were the unsolvedmysteriesfandom.com.
Oh, Katelyn.
A synopsis of an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. An episode from the podcast Red Web, which I'll link in our show notes, newspapers.com, and then coldcaseworld.com. So we're going to Florida in the 80s for this very sad tale. This is the story of 19-year-old Tim Molnar. I'd never heard of this case before. Tim was an aeronautical mechanics student studying at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, Florida. I don't know anything about any of those things, so I feel you have to be smart, and I feel you have to be somewhat responsible to want to be an aeronautical mechanic.
Yes, that seems like those are the people who are responsible for making sure that the aeronautics work.
That would be great. I only say that because there's not a lot known about his, who he was. He's unfortunately, his case has become kind of this very bizarre unsolved mystery that has kind of, like I said, I hadn't heard about it, but maybe other people have. But there's not a lot of information about it, so it's unfortunate that we don't really know anything about him before he passed, which I always prefer.
To know more about them.
Yes, sorry if that wasn't clear. Yeah, I would prefer to know a little bit more about who they were, but reading between the lines of being an aeronautical mechanics student, you have to think that that's somebody who wants to do things in their life and wants to be responsible. On January 24th, 1984, he left home to go to class. He dropped off his 14-year-old brother at his school and just never came back. Nobody ever heard from him again. So we're going to talk about that. So when he didn't come home on the night of the January 24th, his parents were very concerned because he always came home at the same time every night. They said they could set their watches to him. And so they called around to friends to see if anybody knew where he was. They didn't. So they end up calling the police. And this is where it gets really weird. So the night that they realize that Tim is missing, the family receives 2 phone calls with just static on the other end.
Ooh, that's creepy.
Isn't it?
Yes.
It could be a total coincidence, but it also just, with the timing and everything.
I mean, people got a lot more random phone calls when there were landlines, but I think that is very creepy that there was no one on the other end.
So his family believes that he may have been calling home when those phone calls came in, but for some reason didn't talk or couldn't talk or was nervous and hung up, which we're going to come to find out that they think that all of this was his plan to start a new life rather than they don't think something bad happened to him, which I think is interesting.
Really?
Yeah. We're going to talk about it more. Obviously, we haven't really gotten to the details. I'm not sure what I think.
Okay.
Because it is an unsolved mystery.
Yes. Hence the sources.
Yeah. Buried the lead there. So 2 weeks after he doesn't come home from school, the Molnar family receives their first clue. They get a receipt from a gas station in Lake City, Florida, which is 150 miles north of their home in Daytona Beach. So on that day of his disappearance, January 24th, he had stopped at this gas station and paid for a tank of gas with his parents' credit card. The attendant tells police that he recalled Tim had been traveling alone, which, I don't super know that I buy that. How does a gas station attendant remember a random person from 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Maybe their memory is good, but, I work in customer service. I don't remember faces, if I can help it.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just me.
Well, maybe there was something really distinct about him.
Could be. Yeah, we'll never know for sure, but that was what was reported. That's the first clue, that he has this credit card with his parents, and it was used at this gas station 150 miles north of their house on the day that he disappeared. 4 months later, so nothing happens. 4 months later, they get a letter from a car impound company in Georgia, so one state over.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, pretty soon after he disappeared, his car was abandoned in a parking lot, which happens to be 1 block away from the Greyhound bus terminal.
Interesting.
Yeah, so did he park there to get on a bus? Was it just like a coincidence that he parked there? Was there like foul play involved and somebody dumped the car there?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. So his stereo system, an expensive tool set, and his bike that was in, like, he had brought with him in the car were all missing. But they find his wallet with his driver's license, credit card, and like other, like, keys, other stuff. And no clothes, like no bags or anything. But what's really weird, what they're going to find out is that just before this is all coming together, but they find out at some point in the timeline that before he left, he took out almost all of the money in his savings account except for $10. Okay.
And do they know that he himself did it?
I mean, I don't know how, like, it's 1984 at this point,
so who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, like, I don't know what bank security was like at that point. He had this joint credit card with his parents, but you have to imagine, like, that this is a savings account, I think they call it, or maybe it's a debit account, like,
yeah.
But it's weird that he leaves $10. That Red Web podcast that I listened to was like, well, maybe, like, you leave $10 in the account so that you don't technically have to, like, close it, because that's, like, a hassle. You just leave a little, you take most of it and you just, like, leave a little bit. Some people think that indicates that he was going to come back, but, like, it's $10, so I don't know.
Yeah, and if someone's, like, robbing him, I guess, like, that also is kind of strange.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know why you would leave $10 in the account.
Yeah, it all kind of, like, is making sense that he just, like, did want to run away, except for the fact that he doesn't have any stuff with him, like any other clothes or anything. Like, he has tools, a bike, and, like, his wallet and stuff, but, like, what about, like, some essentials? Or were those in the car and those were stolen too? Like, who knows?
Or maybe he planned to pick them up on the way?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. So, understandably, the family is angry with this, like, impound company because the car's just been, like, sitting in impound for 4 months, basically. And they're just now getting contacted about it. Now, like, obviously things probably moved a little slower in the 80s. Like, there's not, like, computers and stuff. So, like, I tend to want to, like, think the best of people and that nobody, like, was just, I think this just, like, slipped through the cracks, but it is shitty because, was stuff in there when they found the car abandoned? Like, did things get stolen from the impound lot? Like, there's no chain of custody, so they can't really use the car as evidence anymore.
Oh,
other than what they have, Yeah,
I didn't think of it that way.
So they hire a private investigator. It doesn't really go anywhere. Just randomly, like, a few days or weeks after Tim disappeared, a relative passes away and leaves him, like, a $50,000, like, inheritance. So it's not something that he would have been aware of before, like, quote unquote, leaving. We don't know if that was, like, against his will or not, but that would never be claimed.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I was like, what if he went to go hang out with the relative?
I mean, maybe.
But then never claimed the inheritance?
Mm-hmm. Correct. And $50,000 was a lot of money, especially...
It's a lot of money now, yeah.
Yeah, and in 84, it went even further.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the case stood for quite a while. That's all they had. Just kind of speculations and very few, like, facts. So there was an Unsolved Mysteries episode about this that originally aired on November 17th, 1995.
Mm-hmm.
Thing came from that, but then the episode airs again January 31st, 1996, and an important person watches this episode. So his name is Stephen Cull, Cull. So he's watching this episode of Unsolved Mysteries, and something clicks in his head. He recognizes the clothes that are described, or they have pictures in the episode, I'm not sure, as, hold on to your butt, he recognizes these clothes because he found them on a body frozen in ice in the woods in Neosho, Wisconsin 10 years ago.
Excuse me?
I will say it again. Stephen Cull recognizes the description of the clothes or the picture of the clothes from Unsolved Mysteries because 10 years ago in this place, Neosho, Wisconsin, he's from Florida, remember?
Yeah, he's making his way.
This guy, Steven, finds a body in Wisconsin that has the same fucking clothes on as what's being described in this Unsolved Mysteries, because they're describing what Tim was wearing the last time he was seen.
That makes sense.
So he either contacts the show or the police. Either way, he gets in touch with authorities. And in Wisconsin, they still have evidence from this John Doe at that point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he
Yeah.
reported that, right?
Oh, yeah. So this happened, the body was found in 86. So 10 years before this Unsolved Mysteries episode airs.
That's so wild. That's so
And he's
wild.
And it clicks with him because, like, how the fuck do you forget what the dead body you found was wearing?
Yeah, you
out
don't
in the woods in Wisconsin. We're going to find out this is Tim. But at that point, it's a John Doe. He had a set of keys with him. He didn't really have much else because remember, his wallet was in the car. So Tim's family mails a copy of their house key to the police in Wisconsin, and they match the keys. So they're able to say, like, yeah, this is Tim's house key, most likely. And then eventually DNA confirms that it's Tim.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So this happens 1,300 miles from Daytona Beach, Florida. How did he get there? So he lives in Florida. His car is found in Georgia. His body is found in Wisconsin.
I mean, he must have hopped on that Greyhound bus and really rode it.
That's probably the most logical solution. But it's they don't have records, or Greyhound doesn't keep records like that at that point. Like, who knows? But they're not able to figure out how he got to Wisconsin exactly, why he's in the middle of the woods either, and why he's frozen in a lake.
Yeah, what befell this man?
The autopsy is no help. There are no signs of trauma on him, and they can't determine a cause of death.
Really? This was an autopsy done in the 80s, or in the 90s?
86.
86, okay.
86 was when the body was found, so I have to imagine they did the autopsy right away.
I bet, yeah. I wonder if they would find anything if they were able to do it today.
Yeah, I don't know. Something that I thought was just an interesting tidbit. I mean, nothing makes sense in this, but a lot of his friends and family found it really weird that he left his car behind, because he was known to be like very proud and like attached to his car. So was he like trying to save money because like, oh, I filled up, I can't use mom and dad's credit card forever. So like, because they'll be able to track me. So like, you make it to Georgia and then you get on a bus, but like, I don't know, there's no indication why he would want to leave, but we also don't know very much about his life, so like, what the fuck?
I don't know, maybe someone was after him and they found him.
He may have, seen something he wasn't supposed to see. One source said there were rumors about like a possible drug connection, but like, who knows? That's, there's no substantiating that, so I don't know if it even bears mentioning, but there you go. He is buried in Daytona Beach, Florida. His parents, Helen and Michael, have since passed away. His mother died in 2004 and his father died in 2012. And this is still an unsolved case. There's one, like, tiny thing that happens more currently. There was a Reddit post, like, 2 years ago that directly named a suspect. Like, just, like, could, if that's not them, that's slander.
Wow.
Like, said this person's name and said that it was a neighbor of Stephen Cole who found the body, who was, like, a convicted pedophile. But it's on Reddit. And they're like, I've gone to the police, I've gone to the FBI, and nothing's been done. So it's like, is this somebody on the internet just trying to get attention? Is it, like, we'll never know.
That's wild.
It's weird because when you Google Tim Molnar, one of the first things that comes up is that Reddit post. So it's weird and very unsatisfying.
Yeah, because it's highly unlikely that someone was able to kidnap him that far.
Yeah, but what happened in those 1,300 miles? Like, why did he leave the car? Was it like a financial thing? Why Wisconsin?
And
why this random, like, town in Wisconsin in the woods? Like,
I mean, that sounds like hiding to me.
Could be.
Because, I mean, if you don't want to be found, where better than a backwoods town in Wisconsin?
Yeah, and maybe he was driving and then he was like, oh, I need to, like, I'm recognizable, this is my car, like, I should try to cover my tracks and get on a bus.
Yeah.
But then why leave your wallet and your, all your stuff and your credit card? Like, there was no money in the wallet, but, like, it was 84. Like, cash could only get you so far, I feel like.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I wasn't alive, but
people use cash way more back then.
But if he doesn't have, but, like, how? I mean, I don't know how much he had in his savings, but, like, yeah, I don't know. It's baffling.
And they have absolutely no records of him between Georgia and Wisconsin.
Nothing.
That's wild. Like,
they only made the connection because this random person who found the body watched the episode of Unsolved Mysteries. That's the only reason that this John Doe was identified and why the Molnar family got an answer to where Tim was.
I mean, I'm so glad that they got an answer.
Right?
And this, like, really straight up could not happen today because there's so much CCTV. There's, people barely ever pay with cash now. They only pay for cash for very specific things.
Mm-hmm.
Our phones can be tracked so easily. You would have to ditch a lot to disappear.
Yeah, it'd be very hard right now.
Very hard right now. But that's so strange. I'm going to be thinking about what his motives were for a long time.
What? Yeah.
He wanted to be a lumberjack?
Maybe. I don't know. I just, and well, the thing that's weird too is that if Unsolved Mysteries is telling people what he was wearing when he disappeared, and he was wearing it when he died, like, how was he? Did it just not take? It only took a few days, and then, like, it's just like, what the fuck happened?
I don't know. I just want to check something really quickly. Like, from Georgia to Wisconsin by bus, I mean, 14 hours in a car.
And then on a bus, even longer.
Even longer because of stops. Yeah. It's conceivable that he could have gotten there within the next day.
Yeah, it could. But, like, why? Yeah, we'll never know. We will never know.
Wow, Katelyn, you have brought a skull scratcher.
Definitely not light and fluffy at all. I'm sorry, everyone.
Well, Kuno loves a mystery, as he's trying to say.
Yeah. Give Kuno a little hug and a kiss while we take a break from podcasting.
I will. I'm letting him know that it couldn't happen today.
Okay.
It can't happen today, Bubba. There's too much technology.
Cannot be safe.
follow me,
Welcome to the Ugly Radio on the Podmoth Network, a lo-fi sci-fi audio theater anthology series made for late nights and strong drinks. Join us monthly as we broadcast a pirate signal across time and space, featuring stories, songs, and frequencies from a rotating list of voice actors, writers, storytellers, and musicians. If you're looking for high-quality science fiction, skin-crawling horror, and other genre fiction, listen to The Ugly Radio on the Podmoth Network, now available wherever you get your podcasts. The Ugly Radio. See you in the void.
All right, now that Kuno has been sufficiently calmed.
Now that Kuno and Lou have been subtracted for a moment to relieve themselves, we've added a little Alice dog who insisted she come and hang out with Mom in the office.
Oh,
We're ready to go.
We're ready to go. Well, that's good because I have a question for you, Katelyn.
Mm-hmm.
Would you join a cult of the dead?
Do I have to die to join this cult?
No.
Tell me more.
You have to do something even worse.
Oh, God.
Clean.
Clean, like, the floors? Like, the bathroom?
No. The skulls.
What?
Dun dun dun! Sources time.
Okay.
Atlas Obscura. ItalianFolkMagic.com.
Sure. My favorite website.
ilgrinio2.blogspot.com. morbidanatomy.com, and Wikipedia. All right.
Okay.
So, I tantalized you with a cult of the dead. But first, we're going to start in the lovely, beautiful area of Naples, Italy.
Okay.
So, in Naples, there is a cemetery called the Fontanelle Cemetery. I think that's how, or Fontanelle Cemetery. Okay. Which honestly made me smile a little bit because if you pronounce it Fontanelle, which I think might be incorrect, I think Fontanelle sounds more Italian, but the fontanelle is like, I think the like squishy part of like a baby's skull.
That sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right.
So it's just very bone themed. But there are these caves that are located in the tuft hillside near Naples. And these caves eventually became the Fontanelle Cemetery.
Ooh, okay.
Cave cemetery.
We haven't had a cave cemetery, have we?
I'm not sure if we've had a cave cemetery. It's a cemetery and an ossuary.
Oh my God, this is unique.
It's unique. It also reminds me a lot of some other sites that we've talked about where large bone storage has happened.
Oh my God.
I know, this is great. So the Fontanelle, these caves are a combination of natural caves, but also Greek and Roman tunnels and mines. So in this area, there's a lot of volcanic activity because they're right by Mount Vesuvius. And
shit.
Right? And so this area kind of by Vesuvius, times known as, in Italian, it is the Campi Flegrei, or the Fiery Fields. That's what this area is called. Very evocative. And there's a lot of intense volcanic activity. And due to this volcanic activity, there's been a lot of hollow areas underneath the ground where lava was gonna be. Also, the rock is a lot easier to cut into and tunnel into.
Okay. So ancient tools would have worked on that.
Absolutely. You know, the Greeks were doing some tunnel stuff. The Romans were building their aqueducts and also some tunnel stuff. And so we've got these beautiful rolling hills, which underneath are filled with secretive caverns.
Love it.
Originally, the city of Naples had cemeteries within the city's walls. But I'm going to tell you a familiar thing, Katelyn.
Oh, I know. I know.
They ran out of space.
Yep. Too many dead people.
Too many dead people. We've seen it so many times before with the Paris catacombs. So many times people are moving cemeteries around due to overflow, as it were.
Overflow, and then landmarks are changing. Like, shit's getting wild over there.
Cities expanding, yeah. Yeah, the growth of Europe really rocked the cemetery world. So during this time, it's about the 1500s in Naples, and the Spanish have come to occupy.
Okay.
And with them come a lot more dead bodies, and living bodies, and then dead bodies. And then to compound with that, there is a devastating outbreak of the plague in 1656, which kills about 150,000 people, which would have been half of Naples at the time.
Jesus Christ.
So we've got a lot of dead people to deal with in Naples at the moment.
Sounds like it.
So where are we going to put them? We could try to put them in the cemeteries of the city, really overpack it, maybe do some above ground crypts, or we could put them in the caves in the hills. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I love a cave and a hill, but nobody's going there on the regular.
Mm-hmm.
So we might as well make use of that space and make it a cemetery. A cave is free.
A cave is free.
In theory, I mean, it probably costs money to like make it a cave. That's beside the point.
We have space in the cave.
There is space. It is below ground, so it's not taking up more space. I think it's brilliant.
So you think we could fit 40,000 remains in there?
No.
40,000 remains.
Say that.
Just like a cheeky 40,000 remains.
I mean, how big are these? How big are we talking with these caves?
They're pretty big.
Okay, yeah, no specifics. Yeah, I don't know about 40,000. I'd be more comfortable with like 10,000.
Well, Katelyn, you would be right, because these caves became overrun with bones.
Damn,
40,000 was too much. Too much bones in there.
Damn.
And in fact, there are records of, these caves getting just overstuffed with bones. People just go and drop off dead people in the caves in the hills.
Oh.
Katelyn, when it rains too much, it floods.
And they're just dumping bodies there?
Yes.
Oh,
and
God.
From the caves to the city is downhill.
Yeah.
So when we get a flood...
No!
We get a river of bones going through the city. Literally remains coming through with the water.
I can't believe you've brought me this.
I can't believe you've done this.
I can't believe you've done this. Life's hard, okay? Life's hard as it is. When is this? Like medieval times? Before that? Like
this is like the 1700s.
Shit's rough.
I mean,
shit's rough. And you look outside, it's probably raining because there's flooding or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you just, oh shit, there's skeletons and bones, pieces of... That's
There goes
too
Grandpa.
much. That's too much. Like, oh my God.
He loved river rafting.
My God. What a beautiful tribute.
What a beautiful, purposeful tribute. So it must have been truly, we joke, but like, that's traumatizing.
That would be hideous.
It would be bad.
That would ruin me for a while.
That would ruin for a while. For a while, it would ruin.
That would ruin everything for a while.
Yeah. And I mean, we talk about that the people of the city were not happy with this situation due to Catholic lore and rules. All of these people, they were buried in unmarked graves without any pomp and circumstance or prayers or last rites or anything like that. They were just stuffed in a cave, right? So a lot of people believed that these souls were trapped in a purgatory of sorts.
Right.
You know, they couldn't be fully put to rest because they were just shoved in a cave somewhere, which I guess I would agree with. I'm not a Catholic, but...
Well, I mean, there's got to be something, you know, just to be just kind of dumped in the hills. And I'm really sorry if you hear snorting in the background. Alice is having a moment behind me.
Oh my goodness.
This is a sidebar. This is something she does when she's, like, been fed, like, gone outside. Like, when she's had her basic needs met, she does this, like, thing that Chris calls croc rolls, where she's just rolling around on the floor, like, panting. And she's just, like, so happy to just have her basic needs met. So, I guess because I let her in here, now her basic needs of the moment are met.
Oh.
So, yeah, anyway, I apologize if you hear any snorting. That's part of it.
That's adorable. Less adorable were the thousands and thousands and thousands of remains and souls trapped in a cave purgatory.
I have to believe that if there is an afterlife, the people that were just dumped in those caves would have some unfinished business.
I would.
So, yeah, I believe that.
I'd be like, I don't care. Dig me a grave.
Yeah, just to be... yeah, that's just so... Like, not... I kind of understand not being able to pay for a coffin, but to not even, like, bury someone, come on, like...
Well, the city was also experiencing some extremely tough times. Like, when I say that they had an outbreak of the plague, they also had an outbreak of cholera, like, a bit after. What year was that?
Yeah,
that
you have to cut people a break. That was a lot of death.
Okay, there was a smaller cholera epidemic, but that wasn't until the 1800s. You knew better then. So it took generations for Naples to come back from this, like, plague outbreak that they had because it wiped out just so many fucking people.
Yeah.
And so it took them a really long time to realize that they had this cave full of bones up there, but the local people were terrified of it.
Oh, God. Of course.
And it was not a place anyone would go. In folklore, it was extremely haunted. Like the most haunted a place could be. Was this cave full of bones?
I'm getting, like, necropolis vibes.
Oh, yeah. Big time. So all of these souls and skulls trapped in this cave didn't sit right with the townspeople and didn't sit right with the church either. And there was someone who decided to take it on as their task to try to alleviate this problem. And that person was Father Gaetano Barbaretti. He decided that he was going to catalog and organize all of the remains in this ossuary, in these caves.
In all the caves. Wow. Okay. That, if there's 40,000 people down there, that's a fuck ton of bones.
That's a rough estimate.
Damn.
So this was in 1872 that he decided to take on this endeavor. And it wasn't just him. He enrolled a lot of volunteers, people who, you know, a lot of wives, a lot of older women, to come and help him sort through piles and piles of human remains and try to, you know, organize them. He was putting them in, like, little boxes. He was lining them up in rows. And from this endeavor, they also decided they were going to clean the remains.
Okay.
And so all these volunteers and all these sets of remains, having to work with them all the time, being down there in the caves all the time, they formed, like, a really close relationship with these sets of remains.
Yeah.
And they started to build them, like, better and better little enclosures for, like, skulls and for, like, bones and parts of the remains. And there started to become kind of something of a cult of devotion around these skulls.
And, like, the preservation and Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Right?
Huh. I didn't know. I wasn't sure where this was going. I didn't think it'd be there.
Yeah. Because these mostly older women, a lot of them were widows. Some of them were just people for whom all of their family had passed or left. And they would clean the skulls and they would talk to them and they would ask them for favors. And they were trying to kind of make up for the fact that these people were never like put to rest by caring for them with extra love and attention after their death. And like this cult per se, it's like, it's not its own religion. It's, a lot of these people they were Catholic, but they felt this connection to this skull. There wasn't any like organization to it. The father that decided to organize the skulls wasn't like their leader or anything like that.
Sure. It was just like kind of a gathering of people.
Yeah,
with a common interest. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think you and I would be cleaning skulls, but I think a lot of people would be like, what the fuck is wrong with them? Like these skull cleaners, like.
Right. And like they're, Naples was a superstitious place, has always been a place where folklore is, strong. But these women were definitely they were a fringe group.
Yeah.
Especially because some of them would go so far as to like, it's phrased as kind of like adopting these skulls, where they would like make these own like bespoke enclosures for them with like offerings, bring flowers, coins, toys if the skull is small enough and is perhaps of a younger person. And they would ask for favors from these skulls. And then some people would receive the name of the person, the skull, who they used to be, in their dreams.
Oh.
That the spirits of the skulls would communicate with them in their dreams.
Huh.
Yeah. And then they would like give the skull their like name back and continue to like visit the skull. A big trend in this following was to write wishes or, questions of the dead and put them on little scrolls and put them in the eye sockets of the skulls.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Would you care to look at your email?
See, I saw an email come through and I was like, I bet I know what this is. Or do I?
Or do you? The women who participated in this were extremely possessive of their skulls, too. They didn't like it when other people touched their skulls. And some of these skull boxes that the skulls would live in even had locks on them.
Oh my god. People are like, these are mine.
This is my fucking skull.
Maybe if you like had a dream about that one, you want to make sure you can come back to it.
They would literally like claim them.
Huh.
Like these are like my skulls.
So like the volunteers would have these dreams.
Yes.
And come in the next morning and be like, this is
Patrick. He spoke to me in the dream last night. I'm going to spend a bit of time today to get some wood and some glass and build him like a little enclosure. And I'll write Patrick on it. And then I'll bring him some coins later. And then maybe he'll tell me the lottery numbers.
Honestly, I don't see any harm in this. It's very like, it's weird. It's, weirdly beautiful, that memento mori, like, what the fuck am I looking at? But I don't know.
You got the pictures up that I sent you?
Oh, yeah. I can see, like, this one has, like, some skulls down in front. Behind them is just a wall of skulls. And then there's some close-ups of the little boxes. And, like, one has an offering of, like, what looks like a little coin or a pin and a fan and, like, a necklace. Yeah, this is wild.
I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's very mysterious, very spooky.
Yeah.
Very cool, very beautiful.
Right? Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of, like, people would claim their skulls, but there were some skulls that were just kind of belonging to the community. There was said to be a skull that was good for fertility, and if someone wanted to become pregnant, they could go to the skull and rub it, and then that would be good for fertility.
Okay.
It It was also a popular makeout spot. People would...
Oh my god. Like, townspeople are coming in here to be like,
Yeah.
what's up?
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
They're like, hey, you want to kissy in front of my favorite skull?
Yeah. What?
I mean, it's dark.
Yeah. Yeah, people aren't coming down there at the same level as they're going to other places on the surface. I don't know.
I don't know. It's still haunted as fuck, so I'm not sure if I would want to be doing some foul things in there.
No, I feel like I would go on like a sanctioned tour.
Yeah, I would like that. I think it may be by reservation only now,
Yeah, okay.
but it used to be just open to the public all the time and was kind of a staple of Naples.
A staple of Naples.
I didn't mean to do that.
Might be the name of this episode.
Hey, look for it. During World War II, Naples was bombed quite heavily.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the places that people went as a bomb shelter was this ossuary.
Wow.
And there were many people who survived because of the shelter of this ossuary. And in fact, there is a skull that has inscribed on the box that it lives in the date 6 September 1943. And this is actually the date of one of the heaviest bombings of Naples.
Huh.
And it's believed that this skull was prayed over during that bombing, and that those people attributed some of their good fortune to being in the presence of these skulls, which I thought was really powerful. The Napoleons, or people of Naples, actually refer to the remains as Anmi Pensatelle, or little wretches.
Huh.
I know.
I don't know how I feel about that. Is it like he feels sorry for them, or
Yeah.
maybe it's okay? I don't know.
I think it's kind of like, oh, these lost souls. You
Yeah,
know?
it sounds like wretched, but I don't think that. I think it's like, oh, yeah. I think
wretches.
I know. Yeah.
Like, Ursula's like little
Creatures.
seaweed creatures that are
Sure.
like, oh.
Sure.
That's what wretches makes me think of.
Okay. Yeah, I feel that.
So after the war, people continued on with this tradition. And in fact, it was even stronger in some senses because the ossuary itself played such a part during the war, a positive part. And, I mentioned offhandedly that, like, I said something about lotto numbers, but, like, a more modern example from, like, after the war was, like, a skull that you could pray for the lotto numbers from.
Huh. Okay.
I don't know what the success rate on that was off of that skull, but, It also became a popular place for some black magic rituals.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're having rituals at the ossuary. Like, if your town has an ossuary, that's where you gotta go for the witchcraft.
Right, and it's so funny because they actually tried to curb this and the making out by putting a church, like, right at the entrance.
Oh, no, it's not gonna deter anybody.
Oh, no, it deterred nothing. Which kind of was sad because Cardinal Urici of Naples was not a big fan of this worship of these remains. It's a little, it's not very God first, It's not very Jesus first. It's kind of...
Yeah. I mean, part of me is like, this isn't hurting anybody, let them do their thing. But,
right?
I can see why people were maybe concerned.
Yeah. He did publicly call it fetishism.
Oh.
Which I wouldn't agree with.
That's a little too strong.
A little too strong for my taste. But he did end up shutting the ossuary down, closing it to the public in 1969. Not so nice. But there have been restoration efforts that are ongoing at the ossuary. There was a big push to restore the remains in the space from 2000 to 2004. They also reinforced the cave structure. So
that's good. So it can, like, not fall down.
Yes.
Cool.
To this day, I believe it is closed to the public and can only be toured by reservation only. But I would love to go someday if it's possible, because I love how this culture took something as upsetting as too many dead bodies and eventually turned it into something that became a staple of their culture and local folklore, and something that gave people hope in very dark times.
Yeah. Very interesting. So I've never heard of something like this before.
The cult of the dead.
In all of our years of bone podcasting, like, where have you been this whole time?
I was thinking that today, because I was like, we've talked about a lot of ossuaries. We've talked a lot about creative bone arrangements.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, have we talked about creative bone arrangements? I think one of our very first either bonanzas or episodes we talked about, there's a bone chandelier that exists.
Yeah, Czech Republic. What's up?
It's in the Czech Republic. Love that church. That place is insane. We must go.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, we've talked about a lot of ossuaries, but this one has escaped our view until now. And how something called the Cult of the Dead did not get searched up by either of us, I have no idea.
Well, I'm glad you found it. I'm glad you found it when you did.
Me too, and I'm so happy to start spooky season together. We've got a lot of fun stuff planned, so make sure that you are keeping us in mind when you're choosing your podcast listening experience.
Yeah. Hit subscribe, 5 stars on all of your favorite platforms.
And if you have a spooky topic that you'd like us to cover, please send it to us at our Instagram at Anything Bones Podcast.
Yeah, we hope to see you in the future in the spooky season. And as always, bon voyage.
I'm popping out from behind a tombstone.
I'm screaming!
Thanks for listening to Anything Bones. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Anything Bones Podcast, or email us at anythingbonespodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you to Nick Kruger for our spooky music and Stephen Vetteroff
At Chubby Scrubby on Twitter.
for our jazzy vocals, and thank you to Camilla Franklin
At Camilla Strader on Instagram.
for our beautiful bony artwork. Please rate, review, and subscribe. Ah,
Hello!
hello.
Alice tried to follow me upstairs, but I had to
Aw.
close the door because Chris wants to watch TV downstairs, which is fair.
Yeah, that is fair. These guys are getting taken out because
Oh, getting restless. Gotta piss.
Take him out.
do not know. And he made a motion like he was shooting them.
Bang, bang.
No.
Not like that.
Taking him out.
No,
What you
that
said?
that's not what I meant.
Sorry, boys. The Don ordered a hit on you.
Well, I ordered a poopy hit. A hit on their poopy.
She said she don't want to see no more shit from them.
No, I want to see them shit outside.
Shitting with the fishes is what she said.
No, shitting on the grass.
Alice is at the door trying to get in.
Aw, can you let her in?
Yeah.